Hey, everybody. The Phoenix Suns beat the Kings tonight, 114-103. The late start, Max Ryno with a big game. Really impressive with 22, 10, and 4 assists. Precious Achiuwa played well. The Kings' front line played well. Same story for the Kings. They just don't shoot well enough from three. They were only 7 of 27. They got destroyed in the second and third quarters after a really good first quarter. But that second quarter, the game got away from them, and it got away from them in the third quarter. But again, you look at the bright spot, Max Ryno played very well.
Yeah, he did. And I don't think the Kings played poorly tonight. They were outplayed in areas they shouldn't have because they were the bigger team.
Yeah.
But this is just a case of Phoenix being much better than the Kings. And it's how it's usually going to roll out on nights like this in the association.
Yeah. By the way, there's a lot of talk about ticket prices going up and whatever. We talked a little bit about on the radio today. I'm hearing there's no increase in the tickets. So I don't know. I haven't yet run into anybody whose tickets are going up. Jerry Reynolds, nice enough to join us. Jerry, what did you think of Max Ryno tonight? I talked right off the top. I mean, this guy just continues to impress, doesn't he?
He really does. There's no doubt about the skill level. You see the quick hands, the soft hands, able to play out in the open court. I just think there's just nothing but a potential young star there. Now there's a lot of work to do. I mean, his body's got to get stronger defensively. He really is a liability at this point still, but I mean, he's got to be one of the top 10 rookies this year, if not one of the top 6 or 7.
Two things, Jerry. The first is I spoke to a source and they talked about how Max has been able to put on some muscle during the season. So first off, invisibly, you can see that. How hard is that to do? And second off, do you think he's just a liability inside or an overall defensive liability?
I think he's not really an outstanding defender either place. I mean, it'd be unfair to say that, but I think he can become certainly above average. I think certainly inside, I think he can, because I think he's going to be strong enough. He's got good instincts with good hands and everything. Now, when you get him out on the floor, I think that's where he's going to have, he doesn't have the real quick feet. You can see that. And so in his case, he's just going to have to learn to kind of get a lower center of gravity. He allows himself to get stood up. And and that's kind of natural for big guys. They want to look big, and that's nice around the basket. Looking big, 20 foot away from the basket, you're just a shooting target.
And a solid game for Precious Achiuwa, Jerry and Ryan.
Precious is. I mean, I'll tell you what. That first half, he was terrific. Now, I thought Phoenix did a nice job on him, but I think he's going to create a nice issue in the off season, because they're going to need to re-sign him. And I think he's created a lot of value around the league. And of course, it's one of those things. It's kind of like losing LaRavia, and certainly he's looks like a much better prospect than LaRavia, but there's some limitations what they can do. And I think Precious is kind of proven to be that he's a guy you want to keep.
9th straight game with 8 or more rebounds. He took a bet on himself this offseason, Jerry, by coming to a bad team. He has improved as the season has gone along. He's on a 1-year contract, and now he's showing some motor, Jerry. Tonight he played over 30 minutes, 38 minutes, team high.
He does, and with those extra minutes, he gives you a little extra with it too. We can point to the stats, obvious stats. But he scraps, he hustles. He'll make that extra attempt at blocking a key shot, running a guy down.
Yeah.
Great point.
You don't see that from every player in the league.
By the way, for those of you that follow us in the afternoons on Fox Sports Sacramento, I'll be doing the show tomorrow at Bennett's in Roseville. So come on out and see us 3 to 6. Brian Bennett is going to supply chips and dip, and he's also going to have assorted sliders. So come on out. That's 3 to 6 tomorrow at Bennett's in Roseville. Kings, 9 of 10 at home, so they lose to the Suns. And as I said, this game really got away from them in quarters 2 and 3 after a really good first quarter. And that's been the issue with the Kings. And again, we know about their injuries and everything else. They just have they don't have the ability to put a full game together. They almost every game, they either got one really bad quarter or 2 really bad quarters. And tonight that was in quarter 2 and 3, guys.
Yeah, and the 3-point shooting again.
Terrible.
The King. It's one of those deals. The game's going up and down. Fun to watch. Both teams getting a lot of good threes.
Yep.
One team makes them, the other team doesn't. Now, in fairness to the Suns, their ball movement was much, much better than the Kings the entire game, start to finish. And then of course when they did miss threes, they got it back. Long shots, long rebounds. They got so many shots, but the 3-point shooting really did the Kings in.
Jerry, your thoughts on Colin Gillespie?
Oh, what a player! What a
Yep.
find!
Yep.
He's one of those kids that undrafted out of Villanova. Has made himself better and better and better, and he's a above middle of the pack starting point guard. And gives them. It's one of those things that's like they pointed out. I mean, you lose. They brought in and thought they had the big three with Booker, Bradley Beal, and Durant, and of course Beal gave him nothing, which he hadn't given anybody nothing in 5 years. But they're a better team right now than they were with those guys. So and that's a lot to do with, I think, basically Colin Gillespie, the new coach, who's done a terrific job with that team. I mean, they really play together, and Grayson Allen, one of the most underrated players in the league.
Yeah, he really is. Yep, no doubt. Somebody said Carter only 9 minutes. I think it's pretty clear he's not in the Kings' plans for the future. That's how I would interpret that. He's just not. And, it is what it is. But that, again, if you're not going to play more than 9 minutes in March in meaningless games, then that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, I'm kind of past getting upset about that.
Yep.
Really.
Yep.
I mean, he it's up to him to play better when he does minutes.
Yep. Shooting better. I think he's playing pretty well. He just can't shoot. It's hard to play guard in the NBA if you can't shoot.
He's also being pulled a zillion different directions. Hey, we want you to be a combo guard. Hey, we want you to be a point guard now. Your focus then in the offseason is completely different. Now, shooting's a part of it always, Jerry, but this kid's been tossed around.
Oh, no question. I mean, of course, started off with the injuries. Nothing's went well for him. But to Grant's point, which I agree with, I mean, in this league today, if you can't really knock down shots, there are no minutes.
Yeah, you got to be able to create space, and he can't do that with a jump shot right now.
114-103, the final. The Kings lose after a really good first quarter. We always talk about the start of the game. That's the one thing I took as a bright spot. I like the way the Kings started this game. I thought the first quarter was really good basketball.
Yeah, defense was very aggressive. I thought, the Kings were the more aggressive team, got good shots and looked like, boy, they're ready to go. And as you pointed out earlier, about midway through the second, and things started changing. Just very sloppy ball handling. I thought, trying to make plays that aren't there. And Phoenix smartly, they made you pay about every time you tried to dribble into a crowd, and then all of a sudden you got a 3-on-2 the other way.
On the 63rd game of the season, we found the hole in the Swiss cheese. We can confidently say with the sample size that it is the second rotation of the starters and coming out of halftime with the starters where this comes off the wagon, because the second unit, as you guys said, in the first quarter ended the first period on an 8-0 run. Malik had 11 straight. The starters come in for their second rotation. Phoenix ends it with, 37 points. And then before you know it, when the bench unit comes in, Jerry, in the third quarter, the game's 20 points out of hand.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think there's enough evidence.
Yeah. And I agree with the people. It is. I understand that it's a multi-billion-dollar TV deal, and I get all of that. But a weeknight game at 8 o'clock is just stupidity.
Brutal.
It just is.
Well, clearly they don't care about the audience back east. I mean,
yeah. Oh boy, or the Midwest.
Yeah, that's what they really are in effect saying. Basically, this is a game for west of the Rockies.
And unless you're being parents, you're not watching the Kings play anyway, unless they force you to watch the game as a punishment instead of taking your phone away or putting you in the corner for a timeout. You're not watching the game anyway.
There may be a couple of parents out there do that. I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah, right. I mean, hey, you got You got 2 D's, 2 F's, and a C. You've got to watch the Kings play tonight. That is what your punishment's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, there's nights when it would be punishment. So
Those kids will get straight A's, boys.
Oh my
They
God.
watch enough of that basketball. How about, thanks for the super chat, by the way. How about the Sharks? All right, we're getting Sharks talk. Thanks
Yeah,
for
we're playing against Jerry's favorite team, the Montreal Canadiens.
the Habs.
See, there you go. I bet you even Jerry has heard about Guy Lafleur. We were talking about him on my radio show today.
Oh, I have. Yeah. I can go all the way back to the Rocket Richard and Jean Velleveau. Not a total retard in hockey. But
You know what? I love that. That is good. I'm really impressed. The final in that game, by the way, was 7-5. But this is a hockey non-postgame show. This is a Kings postgame show, okay? So we are talking Kings, not the LA Kings, the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns. If you want to talk about that game tomorrow, call me up. All right? I'll be more than happy to talk about the Sharks game on my radio show tomorrow.
One thing I do think it's kind of interesting. Talking to my son today about watching hockey and the speed and the spacing of the game is just remarkable. Today's basketball game is more like that. There's less structure. It's more of a fast pace.
Yep.
You almost need a second line to come out there. But because in every team, like every hockey team looks like they're playing the same way, and every basketball team now is the very sameness to the style.
Very true. Yep. So what do you take away from this game if you're the Kings? We always talk about the young players. You take away Max. Neek really struggled with his shot tonight, particularly from 3. We're waiting for him to put together a string of more than just 1 or 2 really good games offensively. I didn't think he played that badly tonight, but his shot really for most of the game was just not there.
Yeah, just didn't make shots. I
Right.
mean, one thing about him, I see the potential, and I think for a really solid defender, he has really good instincts for it. Really gets into guys well. I do still worry, a little bit about his just quickness, ability to beat people off the dribble.
He can't.
And that may limit how good he can be. I think he's going to be a solid player, but to be more than that, I think as a guard, it's just like we were talking earlier. You got to make shots, but you also got to be able to beat people off the dribble.
Jerry, I don't disagree with you, but he still has that twitch of hesitation constantly, more times than not on the offensive end. And I would like to see a summer where he is confident and he just chooses the shot or taking it downhill, because that little bit of hesitation makes all the difference in this league, guys.
Oh, I agree with you there. I mean, there's plenty of time to see more of that. I think probably where I would push back a tiny bit is that I'm not really even talking about scoring. I'm talking about beating people off the dribble to make plays.
Gotcha. Yep.
And to draw defenders to him. And it just doesn't seem like that comes easy to him.
So the Kings are 14-49, and their net rating is a minus 10.9. And again, there's 8 of the next 9 in Sacramento. The Phoenix Suns, they're trying to hold on and end up as a top 6 team in the West. They're battling the Lakers right now for that last spot, which is very important. Obviously, you don't want to be in a play-in. They're going to really miss Dylan Brooks here down the stretch. That's for sure. They're going to miss him a lot.
Yeah, he gives them that edge that they need, really. I mean, Obviously they can make up for his offense much easier than his defense and just being the prick that he is on the floor.
Yeah. If Jalen Green comes around, that will help out tremendously for them, because one thing they can do is play with pace. And that is huge. Now, the question is, can they play in the half court? And that's going to be where you're going to miss a guy like Dylan Brooks.
Jerry, I want to say thank you very much for staying up way past your bedtime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I've had about 2 or 3 extra naps during the day, so I was
That's
ready
good
for it. So I've just missed you guys, so I didn't want to miss another one.
We appreciate you, Jerry.
Too, buddy.
Thank you for making the effort. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Take care. See you guys.
Take care.
Great stuff.
If you want to call the show, you can do so. We're happy to take your phone calls. If you want to just hit us on the chat line, we're not going to go long today. All right. We're probably going to go 30 minutes because it's late. And then we'll talk about it tomorrow at 3:00 on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Yeah. Can I just have a quick moment? Can you give me a tiny bit of runway?
Go ahead.
I thought tonight was a very, very bittersweet night. And let me explain why I say that. It is a joy to watch a guy like Colin Gillespie play basketball.
Mhm.
Colin Gillespie is everything, that type of player that this team needed 3 years ago. And the cool thing about Colin Gillespie is he grew up in the Suns system. He was a two-way player. I watched him battle against Keon Ellis when it was the Stockton Kings and the Valley Suns, and you saw the best come out when those two matched up against each other. And this is a picture perfect example, Grant, of a team allowing a player to get some runway and get some real game experience over a season and a half without putting the brakes on him. And look at how he's turned out. Now, him and Keon Ellis, different positions, different players, but the Suns handled this just about as well as you can handle it. And what's frustrating for the Kings, and as a Kings fan, is your team is developing players very, very well. You are very poor at managing and retaining those players.
It's malpractice. It's basketball malpractice. That's what it is. The fact that Keon Ellis can leave Sacramento and be basically buried and go to a team like Cleveland and end up playing between 20 and 30 minutes every night, and some nights over 30, and being on the floor in the fourth quarter of close games. It's just complete franchise malpractice that's gone on here in Sacramento. There's no other way to say it.
Well said, Napes. All right, let's go to our first caller, Mike in San Francisco. Mike, what do you want to say?
Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it.
All right, thanks, Mike.
That was really to the point.
Did you not get that? I hope you got that. Kazzy, what's up, man?
This team, as you said, like they keep getting rid of, talent. Vivek took over 2013?
Nice light, by the way. That's really impressive.
Great, I appreciate that.
Isn't on fire.
Yeah,
from the
cave. I'm doing my best. guys.
Appreciate it, man. That's great. I mean, when you live in a cave and you want to come onto the show, you need a little illumination. I like that. I want to say, Kat, that's very clever of you. I'm really impressed.
Like with all these trades and moves that they do to get rid of all this young talent, like it just seems like in these coaches, it just seems like 90% of it is Vivek, and then he just uses his puppet hands and controls the GM who's ever in that position, and then it's like, oh, like why does this same thing keep happening, even though over the last 12-15 years we've had 7 different GMs. So it's just like that's not normal in other teams, Grant, like franchises, right? If you have like over a course of a 10-year span, if you have like 2 or 3 different GMs in that span, you're not going to see similar decisions, right?
Again, the Kings are one of the worst franchises in
exactly
sports.
I mean, it's just sad. It's just like, and also, I want to talk about Nico quick. Now, let me know if this is a valid comparison, but he honestly reminds me of Evan Turner back in the 2010s.
Who?
Evan Turner.
No, but who are you talking about?
Nate Clifford.
Nate. Okay.
Because I just see both of those players have like combo guard skills. They're both like capable of like being good passers, getting assists, and I mean,
Evan Turner was an underachiever. Evan Turner never.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because he was like the second, third pick.
Yeah, he never met expectations.
And I don't expect Clifford, to really ever be a star. I think at best he'll be like an average starter. I think if that could be a ceiling, but I just see a lot of comparisons in their game, and I think if he could become Evan Turner and be in this league for 10 years, I think that's a decent career.
I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm just not. I think it's too early. Ryan?
teams aren't made of stars. Phoenix is the perfect example. This was a team loaded with stars. They broke it down to the most fundamental level and said, we're going to build around Devin Booker and put the right pieces around him, and look at the success that they've had. So you need a guy like Nick Clifford that can maybe turn out that way, Kazi.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, wish me luck tomorrow because I got 2 interviews in the morning.
Really?
Oh, yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right, Kazi. Good luck, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we wish you the best. You let us know how that goes, okay?
Alrighty.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Maybe
2 interviews, not 1, 2.
Yeah, maybe he'll be able to afford to turn on the power.
Well, I don't want to get carried away with this. Okay, let's walk before we can run with him. Let him get a job first, then we'll see if we can get the power turned on.
Very good, very good. So, what did you think about the arena tonight? I thought the fans that were there brought it, but definitely light attendance.
Listen, it's a tough. Here's the deal: the Kings are terrible, and the game's at 8:00 on a Tuesday night, so that really limits families that can go. Whether you have young children, I mean, it creates a set of limitations. It really does.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So I'm not really judging the Kings fans on the fact that the empty was half full. I get it. I understand. I get it.
Let's go down to SoCal. Our guy Tay. Welcome on, Tay.
Hey Ryan, hey Grant. Thank you for taking my call. I just want to start by, thanks for always taking the call of myself and the other fans. I don't take it for granted. I really appreciate being able to get feedback from you guys. You guys are a big part of my daily routine life. Just wanted to say thank you. Neemias Queta also comes to my mind. He's having a great season, and if the Celtics win a championship, I think obviously we're gonna be so happy for Queta that he was able to contribute. If you guys don't mind talking about not the Kings, but what do you guys think about the Clippers? Because they seem to have the best record since the All-Star break, and I follow them pretty closely living in LA. They seem to be one of the most perplexing teams. I think Kawhi Leonard is one of the most perplexing players in NBA in the last decade. He's just so hard to figure out, in that if he plays, I think he's easily a top 5 player. And Garland played last night against the Warriors. They beat the Warriors, and he looked pretty good. Clippers going deep in the playoffs is probably the most Clipper thing ever, though, looking at the way that they started. How do you guys like their chances in the West? Again, just bringing up non-Kings factors. Hope that doesn't
I don't like their chances.
Right off, so
I don't like their chances in the West. They're not going to do much. They're just not. It's I don't see it. First of all, they got to get into the playoffs.
Every team, Tay, in the NBA, their success is dependent on health. But in the 2 players that you just talked about, in particular, Kawhi Leonard and Darius Garland, and even if those guys are healthy, and I know Kawhi has been on a tear as of late.
Yeah, he's a hell of a player.
When you get to the playoffs, they're going to get the ball out of his hands. And if Garland's not there, who's the next guy that's going to step up? Is it going to be John Collins, Tay? It's a hard sell for me to see them making a run.
Garland's got a toe situation, and you know how those can go. So we'll see. But they're not going to do much in the West in the playoffs.
Tay, I want to ask you a question because you're right there smack in the middle of it. What's the noise been around LA about this pending investigation with the Clippers?
To be honest, I think after the season started and I think especially after Clippers went on that 17-3 run or something, it's been very quiet. Before, when they started the season 6-21, there's been a lot of noise around LA, LA Clippers media about the potential repercussions, whether, if found guilty, if they're going to take the draft pick away or whatnot. But after they went on the winning streak, it's been pretty quiet, and, it's still ongoing, but it's definitely a lot less noise than when it was in the beginning of the season, when Ballmer came on ESPN with Ramona Shelburne to, state his case. I think the winning streak kind of put things under the rug, but the investigation is still ongoing as we speak. And I think from national media, it hasn't been as much of a topic lately either. So
Yeah.
I think, everyone, is pretty interested to find
Yep.
out what's going to happen with that. But I think the main thing is Kawhi Leonard has always been Steve Ballmer's guy. That's been his guy. And, I think that will be his guy moving forward. So, who knows what's going to happen. So,
Hey,
yep.
Tay, we really appreciate you chiming in, and thanks for the information.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good
Yep.
night.
Thanks,
Thank
Ted.
you. Hey, Bennett's tomorrow. We'll be doing the show out there, 3 to 6, Bennett's in Roseville. It's Eureka and Lead Hill Boulevard. Again, Bennett's in Roseville. Of course, the location in Rockland is called the West Side Grill, but tomorrow we are going to be at the Roseville location. So come on out and see us. Brian Bennett is going to provide chips and dip and assorted sliders. So come on out and watch the show tomorrow, 3 to 6 at Bennett's in Roseville.
Let's get to some of you in the chat. Appreciate the love, Athena. Carl is in here. Let's see. Harden. Yep, he is gone.
How about this? He loves how hard we work. I hope you guys have a line out the door at Bennett's tomorrow. I hope so too, but thank you very much. We appreciate your support. I mean, here it is at what? 10:54, and we've got people that want to get our thoughts. And Jerry, we're not going to be on much longer, but I want you to know we don't take it for granted. We greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate your support.
Well said. Andy and Co. Remember when we had Hassan Whiteside years ago? D-League then went to Miami and went off. Yeah, some of the here's where I kind of draw the line. Some of the guys did not really bake as long with the Kings that moved on, I should say, as a Keon Ellis did, as
I wouldn't have taken Hassan Whiteside if he was for free. The guy's dumb as a rock, and he's not going to make your franchise a winner. So I had no problem with that.
Yeah, it's just as of late with this CBA, and I mean it just stinks for as well as this franchise is doing on the bottom end. It doesn't translate, and like you said, malpractice.
Yeah. Well, again, tomorrow we are going to be at Bennett's. I'm looking forward to that. Come on out and say hello. Saturday, Ryno and myself will be at the Capitol Beer Fest at the Capitol Mall between 11 and 3. So come on out and see us on Saturday. It's going to be, the weather's supposed to be 75 degrees on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. We'll have the Fox Sports tent out, sponsored by Elk Grove Chevrolet. So come say hi. There'll be cigars if you would like to partake, and plenty of hydration. So we're looking forward to it.
Yes.
All proceeds benefiting Running for Rhett, which is a great cause. Appreciate the love, Tristan. Yes, free food tomorrow at Bennett. So come on out. Should be a good time.
Yes. That's it. We're going to wrap it up because it's almost 11 o'clock. Appreciate everyone. 3 o'clock tomorrow. We'll have a lot more on this. We'll have some sound. We'll have some response, and we'll get into it. Don't forget tomorrow at Bennett's, Brian Knight, former MLB umpire. He just retired last year. He's going to come on with me and talk about the new automated strikes and balls. Olden Polynice is expected to join us. Jerry may be coming out. So come on out and see us tomorrow at Bennett's in Roseville. Ryno, any final thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, this is a huge compliment, Grant. Y'all part of my smoke sesh. Consider that a large compliment. Hey, you know what? I do, because that sesh can only last so long. So we greatly appreciate it.
Yes, free sliders. That's right. Assorted free sliders. That's exactly right. All right.
My goodness. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care. Talk to you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.